Chef Evelyn here. Glad that you're back. This one is a very special recipe because it is inspired on a Nicaraguan dish called Carne En Baho. Very few ingredients, simple at that. You probably have those ingredients in your pantry. It's just peppers. I had a combination of red and greens, lots of onions, garlic, and this recipe calls to be authentic sour orange. We don't have sour orange, or I cannot find sour orange on a regular basis, so I kind of make my own combination here. A little infusion of I used mandarin this time because I didn't have an orange, but I had mandarin, so I'm using mandarin, lemon, and lime. So the combination of 3 equal parts. I got approximately close to, it is half a cup. I thought it was a full cup, but for the amount of meat that we have, that is perfect. Tomatoes, the original recipe does call for tomato, but we are not using it today, and the reason for that, because of its acidic content and the tomato, the way these ingredients play and the way it has to marinate overnight, and then the process I'm going to use to cook this carne en baho is done steam. So these ingredients with the tomato, somehow it kind of makes it go spoil very fast. So I don't like to add it unless you're going to use it for the very day, or I'm going to use it in a different recipe instead, which is going to be a finishing salad having the tomatoes, and I'll have the tomatoes in that way instead of the marinade or even the process of the steaming of the actual recipe. The other special ingredient is cured meat. My salt will be coming from this meat that's been cured for the past 3 days. So I'm going to put the original recipe has it that they put the meats into banana leaves and they make a little nest, put it away, marinate it overnight into maybe a plastic bag. We're going to do a little bit of modern technique over here using the plastic bag technique. So I'm going to show you how everything is going to develop. So basically, first things first, the meat is going into this little nest that I got here with the bowl and the banana leaves. No salt because there's plenty of salt going on in here. I am using garlic. This one has like 5 cloves. I love garlic, and this one didn't have, the cloves were very small. So I'm going for 5, which is probably maybe 3 regular size. Next up, I'm gonna do the onions, the bell peppers. I am putting pepper here, freshly ground black pepper, because I love pepper and it will play very nice with this thing. So simple ingredients. You have this probably in your pantry and your refrigerator. It's a staple ingredient. And all of the citrus, like I said, sour orange, I couldn't find any. So equal parts of the 3 citruses I was mentioning it. The pins, they're clean. So I'm just going to quickly give it a good toss. Just so the garlic, the onion, and all those flavors are extracted from the meat and infused back into the meat. And this is going to go overnight into the fridge. So I'm closing my nest just like so. This is what it's going to look like. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to bring it closer. All the ingredients are in there. The banana leaf is also going to add an additional layer of flavors. And a new technique that I like to apply to this is maybe done in some homes now in Nicaragua. I'm not sure if it's done or not, but I'm going to put this banana here just to add. This is going to act like the vacuum sealer. There we go. So everything that came out is going right back in there. So those flavors are nicely packed in there. This is going to go in the fridge overnight. And also a sheet pan that I have ready here, so in case anything comes out of there, it's going to continue in there. And tomorrow is Carne En Baho time. Hi there, Chef Evelyn here. For today's video, we are going to be making Carne En Baho, also known as just simply bao, which is the technique that we're going to be using today is how to cook this delicious, traditional, very cultural meal from Nicaragua. So bao translates to steam. So cooking with steam is what we're going to be doing today. In front of me, we have two kinds of vessel, which I'm going to briefly talk about, which is what you're going to be needing for making carne en baho. This one is a little bigger than half my size. Actually, it's half my size, not bigger than my size. But as you can see, the pot is huge. And as long as you have something to cook with steam, this one has a built-in kind of basket. It's a second piece to it. And it has like a clearance right here. This vessel has this much clearance, so that's where your water will go and you can steam that way. So anything, once you put this divider in there, nothing can penetrate other than the actual steaming, which is going to bathe the food. And as you know, heat goes up and cold goes down. But this one is going to be traveling throughout, and I'm going to show you how that process is going to go. So I'm going to put this vessel aside because this is not the one that we're going to need. It is a party food. That's why you have this huge pot, because I've done it before for a large crowd. And I'm going to talk about more on the one that we're going to be using today, which is this one. This one has a steamer as well, but the steamer is not deep enough for what I need it to use. It's also like a pasta pot. See, there's very little clearance for everything I'm going to put in there. So we're going to use this, and believe it or not, it has plenty of room for approximately 6 cups of water, which is exactly what we are going to do. And which is about this much before it actually touches the basket that's going in there. Now, in the event you have a little larger basket and you have, this basket in a larger pot, and this will fit in, this will be your steamer at that point. All you need is plantains, different kinds of plantains. You need the green ones, the ripened or semi-ripened, and because this one may look like it's going bad, but it's not. It's going to be really sweet. And the ratios, that is totally up to you. Again, my recipes are just a guide. You make them your own based on what you like, what your family enjoy most, and always to taste. What I want to talk about is how to treat this plantain. So I have this vegetable scrubby, or I use this for vegetable scrubby. So I already got a nice bath getting everything off to make sure, because the larger plantains are just going to be cut, we're just going to cut the tips like so. That's all you need to do. But you do it on the cutting board. You put it like a little bridge and make a little incision like that, and that's all it is. I'm not cutting through. Okay, that's that. One more. Now, green plantains, I like them, but I don't like them in this dish too much. So my preference is bananas. Simple green bananas. You want those if you want to give it a shot. If you want to combine the two, that's fine. Sometimes I do that for my family. And this one, the whole thing is going to come off. These are called fingers, by the way, when you have several. So I cut the edge of that. I'm cutting both ends. This incision is meant to remove the entire skin off. And I make incision on 2 sides, the outer part and the inside. It makes it easy for me. And then I kind of just help it out by lifting it up and moving it around. So that gives you the skin like so. If you're using the green plantains, you do want to remove the entire skin, just like I'm doing with the green bananas. Help yourself out a little bit. they're green, that's why it's a little harder to come out, okay? But they are delicious. I love these babies more than I do the green plantains. And if you have any skin like that, a little residue left, if you want to straighten down, you can do the back of the knife as well. Let's see. And that's all you need. Position and lift. Just do the skin. And if you have a paring knife and that makes you feel better, working with a knife that feels better in your hands, by all means do that. Another trick to kind of clean the plantains from that little residue that you might feel in the plantains or bananas, a little salt, give it a nice little scrub like so, and quick rinse in the sink. Or you can just leave the salt in there, but I'm gonna rinse it, okay? Next up, the ingredients that we need. A lot of plantain leaves. So I do rinse them. I like to rinse them because sometimes they do have a little bit of dirt, but that little dirt is not gonna hurt you in small amounts, but for safety reasons with everything that's going on, I like to rinse or wash things as much as possible and as needed. So all you need is yuca, the different kinds of plantains, and if you watch a previous video, you know I was curing meat for this particular dish. I am using that cured meat for this one. Now, if you do not want to cure your meat, by all means, can you use fresh? Absolutely. And the cut of meat recommended for this is brisket. I was not able to find it, so my second best was flank steak, and your third best will be skirt steak. So I took that one out of the fridge about 15-20 minutes ago. You want to kind of bring it to room temperature. I will not go more than 30 minutes. Okay, so that's all you need: the plantains, the yuca, the beef, and for additional extra flavor, I went ahead and added some more bell peppers because I like it, and I like to kind of adjust the flavorings of what's already going over there. So here we are. I'm going to bring the pot back to sight. Now, there's a trick to this thing. This is an art on how you put your leaves. Because when you get it out of the package and you rinse them, they start to kind of fall apart all over the place. So you gotta, it's an art project, so you kind of have to play around with the sizing and all of that. Of course, you want to use as whole as possible, if you can get them whole without cutting it. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna create, let me see, I did have a small piece over here that I wanted to use as a safety feature like so. I'm laying it down like this so it can create like a blanket of some kind. There we go. Ah, this is a beautiful one. I'm going to go all around it. More. So now there's a little nest. This is exactly what you want. It smells amazing here. So the next thing I would like to do is to add the vegetables in the order that they cook. So because yuca takes a little longer to cook, it's going to go in first. This is approximately 3 pounds. And this amount of food is going to feed approximately 4 people. You could cut the dish in half, and that will be for 2 people if it's only 2 people in the house and you just want to make. But if you're going to go through all that trouble, there's only 2 in this house right now, but that's why I'm going for 4. That way, if you want extra for leftovers, this will taste amazing the following day. And that is the reason why I am not adding the tomatoes, because if you are using it the same day, great. But if you're going to have leftovers, the tomatoes for some reason makes it go spoil faster. And I don't want that. Now, because the meat has been marinating in all this, the delicious citruses from the other day, that if you see that video, you're going to know exactly what was put in there. I'm going to bring that so I can show you what it looks like. So I do want to add some of these juices, even though they're going to drip down into it. I still want to do some of these juices into the yuca. I don't want to use it completely all. This is going to marinate them just a tiny bit. Now, yuca is just like potatoes. Treat them as potatoes. They do like salt, but they are like little sponges. They add a little bit, goes a long way on this one, but I need to add salt. We're layering flavors. Just the yuca in there. Next, the plátanos or plantains. And one more. This will also, this technique will give, besides flavor, it will change the color of the plantains, and it gives that unique, distinctive color and taste to plantains. So if that happens, then you know you did a hell of a job. Next up, a little banana. Had it been the green ones, you put the green ones down first, even though they have this, we have removed the skin, and then the pink, not the pink ones, the ones with the skin, the ripened ones, okay? Now, next up, all this goodness is going in there. And that juices is going to base the rest of the ingredients in there. Carefully remove this. Just like so. I'm going to flip it over. And I'm still going to use this plantain as a lid because it has those delicious flavors. It smells amazing, amazing, amazing. I can't wait till this thing is done. I want the extra peppers, like I said. That's our final layer. The meat has a lot of the salt because it was cured. If you are using fresh meat, then you want to add salt and pepper to this. I added pepper because I like it. You don't have to, but definitely the salt. Okay. In this case, we're not, because we did plenty of that. So this is a work of art. Just putting all of this like so. Press it down, pack it down. There you have it. Now, because you have this extra layer, I'm going to put the water underneath, but if you don't have this kind of vessel, you want to see, because all of this was added. We are covering it, we're nesting it. We did this, we are wrapping this up this way, so you do have clearance on the sides. Some people like to help themselves with a knife or with a spoon or something like that. This one is, let me use this one because I can kind of like move it aside like that, or a little spatula. This gives you a little clearance. That way the water is not going in there. So that's how you're going to help yourself out to put in your water like so. And even if you put it on top, just like I just did, it's not going inside because it's nice and covered. But for easier purpose, I'm going to do it the way I was originally going to do it. 6 cups of water. To the heat, you want to start medium-high until you hear the rolling boil. Once it starts to boil, you bring it down to medium, low and slow. Let it go for 2 to 3 hours. For sure, the first 30 minutes, you want to make sure you have water there at all times. So every 30 minutes or so, you want to come back and make sure you hear some water going. If not, just kind of help yourself and add it in there, okay? That's how that's going to go. I'm going to put it on the stove, for the next 2 hours. I'll let you see it later. So to show you how it's gonna, how it turned out, and then how it needs to be served. So here we are, 2.5 hours later. We are going to reveal this carne en baho, and we are gonna plate it here, lined with the plantain leaf, and usually it's just the bedding of the yuca, plátano, the meat, and then we're gonna garnish with the pickled salad, pickled cabbage salad, also known as encurtido or simply curtido. Moment of truth, I have to move it down because it was too high to keep an eye on it. So here we go. This looks extremely hot, so we really know about this together. Evaluation time. Drum roll. Getting a nice facial with the plantains. Leaves here. Oh yes! That is great! Look at the color of this plátanos, of this plantains, and it's nicely falling apart. Oh gosh, this is so exciting! Yay! So the reason I said earlier that it was for 4 people, because this is a dish that is not done on a regular basis, and it's not something that you want to eat just a little bit of. So possibly if you are sharing this and you're having small portions, you can really stretch it as 6 to 8 people. But I don't know about that here today. I'm gonna start small, like appetizer size, but I know I'm gonna come for double serving, so just to kind of be a little bit mindful about how much to serve here. Oh wow! Put the green banana. Look how it turned out. Last but not least, that cured meat that we did a few days ago, and now we can actually get to have it. The smell is amazing. Now I have some salad. Remember about the tomatoes? I didn't want to add it to this dish. It's darling in the salad now, lightly pickled. I'm gonna put a nice amount of this because all of this vinegar into this is a nice contrast, and there you have it. I hope I have an inspiration to you to create delicious dishes. Until our next video together, travel the world with food. Thank you for watching us. Take care.